Welcome to WEFM's Midday News. I am your presenter, Jessica Klein. First, on the local scene. The 2022 National Lottery's Christmas Nine Mornings Festival will be officially launched on Sunday, 4th December at Heritage Square in Kingstown, beginning at 7 p.m. The festival was briefly interrupted in 2020 and 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the devastation of La Soufrière volcano. The activities which mark the start of the 2022 celebrations that usually captures the masses will feature the return of the street parade, where patrons will engage in a candlelight cultural street procession through the streets of Kingstown, starting at Heritage Square at 6 p.m. The parade will be accompanied by the police band, dance groups, community groups, drumming groups, and expand from Sion Hill. The festival, upon its return to Heritage Square, will commence with a short opening ceremony, which would include the blessing of the festival from the pastor Randy Boucher and worship from the Exalt Hymn Worship Ministries. The Epic Sound Steel Orchestra will provide steel band music, and a special mini presentation will be done by the SVG Police Band. The lunch will hear Christmas greetings from the chairman of the National Nine Mornings Committee, with corporate sponsors, the National Lotteries Authority, and VINEC bringing remarks. The Minister of Culture, Carlos James, will then declare the festival open with the turning on of the lights at the square. Regional and international stakeholders in the energy sector met here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to take part in a roundtable workshop on the design of bankable power purchase agreements in Caribbean small island developing states. The workshop, which took place at Beachcombers on Monday, was led by the International Renewable Energy Agency, along with stakeholders from the finance sector's focus on capacity building on the design of bankable power purchase agreements. Giving remarks was Program Director of the Sustainable Energy Unit at the OECS, Judith Ephraim Smith, who said the ongoing energy situation reminds small island developing states of the urgent need to accelerate the transition towards increased energy security, independence, and resilience. The program director said there is a strong potential in the region to make use of indigenous and renewable energy resources, with governments around the region articulating ambitious sustainable energy targets and climate-related commitments that support sustainable energy development. Schmidt, however, noted that unlocking this potential is dependent on securing the right agreements, which will facilitate high-quality investments, which will favor countries across the region. Still on the local scene, several important decisions were taken yesterday at a special meeting of the University Council, which is the highest decision-making body of the University of the West Indies. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves attended the meeting in his capacity as Minister responsible for higher education. Speaking on radio earlier this week, Prime Minister Gonsalves outlined some of the decisions taken at yesterday's council meeting. We hear more from the Prime Minister.
The council decided to rebrand and rename the Open Campus, and it would be called the Global Campus. It would consolidate and expand the depth and reach of the Open Campus. And secondly, within that rebranding and consolidation and expansion as a global campus, that is to say a non-landed campus, that is school, an international school for development justice, doing graduate work, another masters, PhDs, certificates of one kind or the other on a wide range of subject matters. And accompanying decisions were also made for operational purposes. And a steering committee of the council would be named to help to guide this process, the establishment of the global campus and the school, International School for Development Justice.
That was the Prime Minister, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. Prime Minister Gonsalves said this is the first time in 53 years that he is back on the University Council. In the region, The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States Commission has applauded the groundbreaking Memorandum of Understanding MOU signed at COP27 between the African Risk Capacity Limited, the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility SPC, and the Pacific Catastrophe Risk Insurance Company. The signing of such a landmark MOU between institutions of the Global South is an important step in the right direction, not simply to raise the visibility of the signatories, but also in demonstrating the commitment of developing countries and regional institutions to undertake other initiatives in order to address critical areas of climate catastrophe. The pooling of risk of these three institutions will certainly create a more viable network and will enable us to scale up disaster risk finance and to make wider and greater provision to the most vulnerable sectors in our societies. Additionally, this institutional collaboration represents a further deepening of the burgeoning relationship between Africa, the Pacific, and the Caribbean. More on the regional scene. Entry to St. Lucia is set to be even more seamless with the introduction of an online embarkation disembarkation ED form that allows travelers to be electronically processed. Starting today, November 30th, the new electronic process will replace the handwritten form, providing real-time information to immigration, customs, and port health, and will significantly reduce the processing time of arriving passengers. The introduction of the online ED form is delivered by the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States OECS Commission and funded through the 11th European Development Fund. The George F. L. Charles Airport St. Lucia is earmarked as the first point of execution and will be followed by Hewanora International Airport UVF on December 5th and will be implemented at other ports of entry subsequently. On the international scene, 3 men have been found sitting on the rudder of a ship after an 11-day journey in Gran Canaria, Nigeria. The ship arrived in Nigeria's largest city, Lagos, a journey of more than 2,700 nautical miles, according to information from maritime tracking sites. A photo that was shared by the Spanish Coast Guard shows their feet less than a meter above water as they sit on the rudder at the oil tanker's stern. All 3 men were taken to the hospital in Gran Canaria and were treated for moderate dehydration. And in sports, Wales boss Robert Page has defended the decision to let Nico Williams play on after the fullback's head injury in the World Cup defeat against England. Williams fell to the pitch after blocking Marcus Rashford's 24th minute shot with the top of his head. The Nottingham Forest defender continued for another 12 minutes before being replaced by Connor Roberts. Page said Williams was allowed to continue initially after passing FIFA's concussion test, while brain injury charity Headway criticized the handling of the incident, saying, yet again, medics are given no options. Headway also called for the introduction of a temporary concussion rule. This has been WEFM's Midday News. I have been your presenter, Jessica Klein, and we thank you for listening.
Just in time for the holidays, Quartz is saying you deserve it with its cashback rewards for customers. Shop from October 24th through to November 30th and receive Quartz cashback every time you shop. Plus, when you shop with Quartz Ready Finance, you get double the rewards. You can use your cashback rewards to purchase items for your home or special gifts for him, her, or the kids. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, only at Quartz. Offer valid with minimum purchase amounts. See in store for details. Conditions apply. Quartz.